Gonna hold my body down. We're excited to have today in the KFFR booth and riding on Mateo's Magic Bus, Ben Morrison, who's a co-founder of the Brothers Comatose, a five-piece band. Yeah, man, based in San Francisco. And the Brothers Comatose has been on guitar and vocals. His brother Alex on banjo, along with Steve Height on bass, Philip Brezina on violin, and Greg Fleischut on mandolin. And hopefully I said Greg's name right there.
You said it. I'm pleasantly surprised.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Their style is often described as a high-energy, foot-stompin, rowdy folk string band. And Acoustic Guitar Magazine describes their music as an upbeat brand of Americana with lots of twang, a dash of wit, and a splash of surrealism. Welcome, Ben, to KFFR and Mateo's Magic Bus.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right. Well, the first question is really just, to what degree do you agree with those assessments of you guys? And I just wanted to hear kind of like in your own words, if you were describing the Brothers Comatose to someone who's never heard you before, what would you, how would you do that?
Man, that is the hardest question I feel like you can ask a musician.
Coming right out.
Yeah, well, only because every musician you talk to feels like their genre defies all genres and things like that. But we're not reinventing the wheel over here or anything like that. But we like to put some creativity into it. I don't know. I call us just like a rowdy string band. You know, it's funny because all of our most popular stuff on Spotify or streaming in general tends to be like the mellow stuff, and then we kind of like throw some rock and roll energy into our live shows. So we do play some mellow stuff, but it's like, you know, kick you in the ass.
You guys like to have fun. I mean, that's definitely something that runs the river running through you know, everything you read and everything you see, and obviously your live performances, and that's really cool. So you and Alex grew up in a musical house, Petaluma, which is about an hour north of San Francisco, depending on what time of day. It could be 2 hours, could be 45 minutes.
Exactly. Wow, you know it so well. Yeah.
I've done that drive a few times. And so your parents were big influences on you too. And you know, so tell us about growing up in a house like that, and then your other influences as you were starting the band.
Yeah, I mean, our mom was in a band when we were growing up, when we were little kids, you know, like 2, 3, 4 years old. And she was doing this, she was in a band called Compass Rose, and it's kind of like folk quartet, kind of Crosby, Stills and Nash, lots of harmonies, like all 4 were singers, and it was just like, you know, beautiful harmonies, and we're just like little kids, like, what the hell? You know, how do you do that with your voices? And it's cool.
Yep.
It was so cool. We didn't know what was going on at the time, but I guess that kind of thing just got infused. Even though, like, as a kid, you have to go through your path of like musical exploration and stuff that, you know, kind of pisses your parents off, and then I feel like eventually you come back around, and then you end up appreciating the music that your parents listened to, and that's kind of what happened for us. And so yeah, we find a lot of inspiration in that same sort of stuff they were listening to, and here we are in like a folk band with harmonies after all these years.
And some of the, you know, I was digging pretty deep for this, and you know, just found some references you guys have. I mean, you started as most bands do, you know, doing some covers, Zeppelin, Stones, CCR, things like that. And that, how'd that evolve into what became, you know, really your main jam? I mean, you guys have a great sound that layers on top of, you can hear that music in there, you know, and it's super cool. How did you evolve into more of the string band concept, away from the rock and roll? Pure rock and roll.
Yeah, like I was in rock bands and stuff, but Alex, he even though he listened to it, he was, or he actually, so he started on acoustic guitar, and then eventually, like, you know, my mom was having music party. My parents had music parties and stuff, and somebody left a banjo behind one day, and he just kind of picked it up, and so we started off doing those covers of like Stones and Zeppelin and stuff. Because that's all we were doing at the time. We were teenagers and stuff, and
Yep.
he kind of learned how to play those songs on banjo. Actually, there's
Wow, that's cool.
in the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin, they do a lot of stuff in open G tuning on guitar, which is like almost exactly what a banjo is tuned to. So like, so I would tune to open G, and we'd be like, whoa, we can make the same sounds and almost do the same fingerings on these things. So he kind of figured those tunes out pretty quickly. And so we just started with that, and then we were, I guess, just kind of off to the races from there. And eventually started writing our own songs, and here we are like 15 plus years later, and several albums deep, and kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's super cool. So like that instrument just happened to be there and influences the whole direct. That's pretty awesome. And well, you know, still while we're in that beginning moment for a second, how did the band get its name? I'm sure a lot of
Oh
people
yeah, man.
wonder that.
It was kind of like a strange subconscious light bulb thing that just popped into my head one morning. And I don't know if I had, well, obviously my brother is in the band, and I don't know if I had seen a title of Brothers Karamazov, which is like a Russian novel. I don't know if I had seen that. I wasn't aware of it until after that name popped into my head, but maybe I had seen it to like throw the brothers part first. But there's another thing that happens that I kind of attributed to Alex when he gets into his banjo playing. His eyes just like roll into the back of his head, and you just like see, and it still happens to this day. I know he's aware of it, but I don't know that he's aware of when it's actually happening. But
Right. He
like
goes unconscious, kind of into the zone of it,
yeah,
right?
like weird, like musical coma or something like
Yeah.
that. We're brothers, and I don't know, maybe it just popped into there, and then we were kind of like just stuck with it because we played a couple shows under that name, and we're like, should we change this dumb name? And then eventually we're like, I think it's too late,
You
probably.
don't
So
forget it. It's very catchy.
that's
So good job. You
that's
know, that
true.
was
That's true. Yeah.
well, I'll be looking for him at the show here in Cervantes and see if he gets into that moment.
Nice.
But this is Mateo's Magic Bus on KFFR 88.3 FM, Winter Park, Colorado, broadcasting worldwide at kffr.org. We have in the booth Ben Morrison of the Brothers Comatose. So Ben, let's turn to your new album and tour. So you've released 4 albums before this, starting back in 2010, which you mentioned earlier. So
Yeah.
the new album, Ear Snacks. Tell us
One,
about the
two,
name and
5 albums before it, actually.
so
Okay.
5. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Bad.
I
So
didn't even.
number 6.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. There's a lot going on because we have put out, I guess we put out a live record a few months ago. Then Ear Snacks was earlier this year, and then last year we put out an album called Turn Up the Ground. So it's been a lot, kind of a lot going on, but so I can't really keep it straight. But oh boy, okay. Um, that's the call from the wife right there.
All right.
It's time to put both kids down for a nap at the same time.
All right. All right, Ben, let's turn to your new album and tour. Since 2010, the group has released 5 records, confirming that, yes. And
Yeah.
put another quote in here. Glide magazine writes that Brothers Comatose bows both to tradition and contemporary designs. Theirs is a rugged, rustic sound that's implied in each of these 11 songs, one that allows their old-timey string band approach to ring with an air of authenticity. Well, that's a high-minded quote there, and I believe it was for the new album. Hopefully I grabbed the right quote there.
All right.
But
That sounds familiar, but I can't
yeah.
keep track anymore. So
So
that's cool.
let's talk about Ear Snacks. And
Yeah.
You had some great collaborators on this. Give me the sort of the culmination of that, and then you just dropped a new single too, and you have to tell the story on that. It's funny.
Okay, yeah.
It's too good to
Your
pass up.
Snacks. It's funny. There was no intention of putting it out as an album when we first started it. It just started as a video project, really, during pandemic. We were
Hmm.
trying to figure out something we could do to like keep from going totally insane. So we would get together because everybody lived pretty far apart. Our fiddle player lives in Mexico, our
Mm.
mandolin player in LA, and the rest of us were in the Bay Area. But we're like, okay, can we like get together once a month outdoors, and then we would just like make some videos, and we started inviting friends, musician friends to do it, and we just kind of kept going with it. So uh, we were putting a video out per week, and which is pretty fun, and it was a fun
That is
project
cool.
to do while all this was going on. And eventually we're like, oh, some of these turned out like great, and why don't we just put a record out of some of our favorites? And so we just had the audio, we took the video or the audio from the videos, and we put it
Yeah,
out, and it was it turned out great,
nice.
because there's nothing. I don't know if you've gone into the studio to record music or anything before, but there's a pressure when you go in to like get
Hmm.
this the perfect take, and you want it to sound amazing, and you're like, oh no, let's do that one again, let's do it again, let's do
Yep,
it
yep.
again. And like, okay, let's cut my vocal, and like I didn't feel like I hit that note very well, so like let's cut it and like cut this other piece in. And it's very surgical, very fine-tuned, and if you want to like go super crazy with it, you can auto tune it and get really really anal about it. And this was the complete opposite of that, because we would just meet with these artists, friends of ours, and just be like, all right, hey, let's do we would talk about it before, let's do this song that you guys know, and we'll just throw the video cameras on, throw up some mics, and then do a couple takes, and then whichever's the best one is the best one. And
And
it was,
sometimes that produces the best recording you could ever have, which is, one of my favorite albums. And we're uh, on my show, it's about blues and jazz and how that feeds into rock, soul, and funk, and kind of all folk, kind of in there. And Miles Davis kind of blue, which many think is maybe the greatest, one of the greatest jazz albums of all time.
yeah.
They didn't practice once. They came in, they had the music, and out came, I think they had two takes on two songs or something. So I'm a big fan of that process that you just outlined. So
Yeah, it's something magical in there wasn't really, I was gonna say pressure, but there wasn't pressure at the time. You're just like, okay, like let's just get a good take, and if it feels good, then it feels good, and let's roll with it,
mhm.
and you can strike magic, so I guess, yeah.
The single that you just dropped, the IPA song, and I know you probably told this story 1,000 times, but just for our listeners who haven't heard it, the story behind that, and and how you came to stop drinking IPAs.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's so funny because it's such a prevalent type of beer in our kind of music. It's like
Hmm.
whiskey and IPA. Um and in like the Western US too. It's such a, like,
Yeah,
Colorado it's a huge beer state.
it's not cool to say I don't like IPA. You're like, ooh,
So,
wow. It's like
so we're
Jimi Hendrix can't play guitar. It's like, no, come on.
oh man, we are burning bridges left and right. But it kind of came from personal experience. We were sponsored by a great beer company based in Petaluma, and they specialize in IPAs. And they were nationally distributed, and we were touring a ton at the time. And because they sponsored us, they're like, we'll drop off 3 24-packs of IPAs to every single tour stop that you go to. And so every day we would be greeted at our venue with 72 IPAs. And
That's a lot of pressure.
it's so much beer. And like we were rolling in like a small van at the time. We were like loading cases at the end of the night because you just can't keep up. And we're just like up to our necks in IPAs, like drinking them on the way to the show the next day, and like just warm IP. it's just like you get too drunk because like
They're
and
strong.
then the shows weren't as good, and you know, like, we got overwhelmed, and at some point just like needed to make a conscious decision to switch to shitty beer, or I should say, switch to light beer. I can't say
Lighter, yes,
I
yes.
can't say that on there, but and it's I think it's better for all of us. It's not better for our beer guts or anything like that, but it's better for the shows, and we got like a goofy song out of it. So
Yeah.
here we
That's
are.
fun. Well, and now you can have a lot of fun with that. And speaking of that, you guys have a lot of fun when you play live, and you really get the crowd into it. And I know you're coming up here to Denver to Cervantes, which is a great place. Really is one of my favorite, not just in Denver, but anywhere. It's just the crowds are so good too. So really looking forward to that. So tell us about the tour, how's it going? And you guys having fun with it?
Oh man, it's been a blast. We just did a leg, our first leg in the South and like Southeast, and then
Mhm.
the Midwest. And the shows are better than they've ever been. We've been a band for a long time, and like it's really exciting. Like there's a lot of people showing up in places that we've never even played before. So
Mhm.
it's I don't know, man. Maybe it's like the collective anti-IPA crowd really
Yeah.
coming to support.
Well, I mean, I guess, do you feel like all this hard work, and the years you put in, now folks is kind of building on itself, and folks are, uh, the word's getting out, and folks are starting to come to the shows that might not have heard you before or what have you. So kind of, you feeling that might be part of it?
Yeah, definitely. And we've had a lot of people say, going back to the ear snacks stuff, that they've been watching us on YouTube, or they came
Oh
across a
yeah.
video or something like that, and they're like, "Man,
Yeah.
we've been watching all your videos on YouTube for the last year, and you're finally
Very
coming to
cool.
Columbus, Ohio, or whatever." So it's been cool, man. It's been really exciting.
So on that, I saw your Eleanor Rigby in the elevator, Union down in Union Square. I think you were in one of the buildings right around Union Square in the
Yeah,
city
Macy's. Yeah.
at Macy's. Yeah, yeah. And it's really cool. I mean, it sounds really good too. I mean, I'm a big fan of like Le Blog Attack, where they follow him around Paris and stuff. And but the sound is really good, and people are wandering in and out. So that was a lot of fun. And was that part of the same series or that you guys were doing, or was that a one-off?
That predated the ear snacks idea. I guess it was
Hmm.
kind of like a precursor to it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and um, that was just kind of like a goofy, fun idea that we had to just, yeah, they had some cool elevators, or a bunch of elevators at the Macy's building. And so we just kind of went down there one day and played a bunch of songs in there. And we were greeted by some super happy shoppers. And it was like in the thick of Christmas shopping too. And then I'm like, it was always funny when the doors would open and be like pissed off people because they couldn't get on the
Yeah,
elevator.
right, right. Yeah, they didn't take a moment to say, "Wow, this is really cool and different." No, I'm in too much of a
Yeah.
hurry. I'm angry. It's the holidays. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was mostly happy people, but it was always funny when the angry people showed up.
Well, back to the live stuff. Maybe we kind of bring it home on this. I mean, what's some of your favorite venues? I lived right near Golden Gate for about 10 years, so definitely saw a lot of Hardly Strictly. I mean, that's such a magical spot to play in, and obviously you guys have played all around. I mean, what are some of your favorite venues, favorite crowds that you've had?
Uh, Man, yeah, I mean, Hardly Strictly Bluegrass is like the biggest and craziest, coolest show we've ever played. We've done it a few times, but there's a couple years in particular where there was just like a sea of people, and it was,
Oh,
and I would like look out in the crowd, and like there's my high school English teacher, and there's my,
no
oh,
way.
it was cool, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
because it's like, it's a free show in San Francisco, and there's like a 500,000, 750,000 people over the weekend, and it's
Hmm.
everybody comes out. So that the Fillmore in San Francisco is pretty legendary
Hmm.
spot. When we were out in Colorado last time, earlier this summer, we went to Red Rocks. We've never played Red Rocks, but that is kind of like bucket list venue to play, especially because it's, I mean, beautiful. It's also in Morrison, Colorado, and that's
Right,
my
right. Well,
our
that's destiny. I mean, it's got to happen. So I think we'll look for that one, you know, next this time Cervantes, next time Red Rocks. I don't think this is going to be too long before that happens. You guys will get the invite. But it is a magical place for sure. All those places you mentioned, Fillmore too, is so historic, and it's a great, you know, it's not by accident, it's still going, you know, it's very, we have a good Fillmore here too in Denver. It's different, but it's super cool. So well, Ben, it's been really fun, man, and appreciate you taking the time off the tour and your family and everything, and roof work that you're doing. You know, it's
yeah.
a lot of balls in the air, but really looking forward to seeing you here at Cervantes, and
Thanks for having me.
appreciate
I'm
it.
looking forward to it. Yeah, we'll see you next week.
All right, man, you take care.
Yeah, you too.
All right.
I met a gentle